It's just past 6 o'clock. It's Saturday, the 7th of January, and welcome to our evening news programme. And in the news this week, the BBC local TV has been covering Weymouth and Portland every night this week, following the release of a report which branded Weymouth and Portland as forgotten towns. The report by South Dorset Research Group concluded that the seaside resort and neighbouring peninsula of Portland were stuck in a vicious circle of poor job prospects and low earnings, as they were a cul-de-sac. It suggests despite its location on the Jurassic Coast World Heritage Site, the area never recovered from the economic collapse sparked by the departure of the Royal Navy in the 1990s. In 1992, before the Navy left, more than 41% of jobs in Weymouth and Portland were linked to the defence industry, but 3 decades on, young people are facing a less certain future. Many young people leave the area to go to university and do not return. The report also says 6 years ago the area had 3 full-time and 3 part-time youth clubs, but cuts by the former county council mean that just 1 full-time and 2 part-time clubs remain. Now, Dorset Council's Councillor for Economic Growth, Tony Ferrari, described the 2022 Forgotten Towns report as unhelpful for the tourist result. He said, "I think this is a history lesson, not a description of Weymouth as we see it today. There's a whole list of things that have been done by the council and the private sector has brought into the area. Weymouth has turned the corner and is going in the right direction." Dorset Council said evidence for the growing success of Weymouth and Portland was demonstrated by housing and employment figures. It said since 2019, 524 new homes have been built and there were a further 2,526 homes with planning consent, while unemployment in November was 3.3% compared with the national average of 3.7%. Now, health experts have this week issued a warning over a new strain of COVID-19, which is more transmissible. The new COVID variant, XBB.1.5, known as the Kraken, has already been spotted in the UK after spreading through the US. Experts from the World Health Organization have expressed their concern about the growth and spread of the new variant. These are the symptoms most commonly being reported at the moment through the independent Zoe Health Study app. Sore throat, blocked nose, runny nose, sneezing, coughing with no phlegm, headache, cough with phlegm, hoarse voice, muscle pains and aches, and altered smell. They say that the COVID XBB.1.5 should be a wake-up call to the UK. Professor Lawrence Young from Warwick University told the Mail Online this week that the new variant should be a wake-up call to the UK. He said the XBB.1.5 variant is highly infectious and is driving increased hospital admissions in New York, particularly among the elderly, warning waning immunity, more indoor mixing because of the cold weather and lack of other mitigation such as the wearing of face masks, and are also contributing to the surge of infection in the US. He went on to say, "We need to continue to monitor levels of infection with different variants in the UK, encouraging those who are eligible to get their booster shots. Why not extend this to the under 50s and promote the value of other mitigation measures?" Well, keep ourselves on the lookout for that. Low-income households in Dorset can now apply for the next round of Household Support Fund to help with rising costs. Applications open at 9 a.m. on this coming Monday, the 9th of January. Dorset Council has been awarded funding from the government's Household Support Fund to support households in the most need. The support will be in the form of supermarket vouchers. Citizens' Advice will be allocating this fund on behalf of Dorset Council, and vouchers will be issued to residents who meet the eligibility criteria. Residents can apply if they have an annual household net income of less than $30,000 and savings of less than $16,000 and have not already applied to the fund in November 2022. Calculations for the annual net income should not include things such as personal independence payment, disability living allowance, attendance allowance, carers allowance or child benefit. And applications are limited to 1 per household. Funds are limited and will close as soon as they've all been allocated, so please, it's suggested that if you need help, you should act fast. You can apply online The website will be updated 9 a.m. on this coming Monday morning with the application form going live. And you can find out more on the Dorset Council website at www.dorsetcouncil.gov.uk/household-support-fund. So if you search for Dorset Council Household Support Fund on Google, I'm sure you will find it after Monday morning. Now, if you need help with filling in the applications, completing your forms, you can give the council's customer service team a call on 01305 221 000 or visit one of the council's customer access points and they will be happy to give you assistance. Dorset police officers are investigating a serious injury road traffic collision in Weymouth and they're appealing for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward. The collision was between a green Honda Civic and a Gilera Runner motorcycle happened on Green Hill near Malcolm Avenue around 6 p.m. on Friday the 30th of December. The rider of the motorbike, a 17-year-old boy from Weymouth, sustained serious injuries which were not believed to be life-threatening. Police Constable Tom Ringer of the traffic unit said, "I know that there was another vehicle travelling on Green Hill towards Weymouth and the occupants would have seen the collision but did not stop. Therefore I'm very keen to hear from them as they may be able to assist with my investigation." Officers are also investigating a burglary at a home on Portland and appealing for witnesses or anyone with information to come forward. It was reported that a property in Pound Piece was broken into between Friday the 23rd of December and Monday the 2nd of January. While the address was unoccupied, a large television, games console, cash, 2 high-value jackets and other large clothing were stolen. Now, we'll give you the numbers for Dorset Police in a minute. Inquiries are continuing to establish the identity of a man who was found in Weymouth. Now, we have covered this before, back I think in September or October. Police are renewing their appeal for information and issuing updated photos of him. The man was found in the town near the seafront on Wednesday the 28th of September 2022 and is described as 5 feet 9 inches tall and of slim build. His age is unknown, but he is believed to be between 40 and 50 years old. When he was found, he had long, curly, matted brown hair and long brown beard. He speaks with an Eastern European accent, and it is believed his first language is Latvian. When he was found, he was wearing a black motorcycle helmet with no visor, a black shirt, a black leather jacket, black suit, trousers, on top of other black trousers, and brown workman's boots. He was carrying a black rucksack. Now, anyone with information about the crimes we mentioned or the identity of this gentleman, if they could call 101. If you've got information on any crime that you wish to give anonymously, of course you can do that through Crime Stoppers, the independent charity, on 0800 555 111. And whilst we're with Dorset Police, we're expecting to hear who the next Chief Constable for Dorset will be when an announcement is made in the next few days. The 2-day interview process concluded on Friday to find a replacement for Scott Chilton, who is taking up the chief's job in neighbouring Hampshire at the end of February. He has been with Dorset as the chief since the summer of 2021, having spent most of his career in Hampshire. The process to decide which of the 3 unnamed Dorset candidates should be selected for the top job included a 90-minute meeting with the main appointment panel, an hour-long interview with both internal and external stakeholder panels, and a filmed media exercise. We expect to hear about that early next week. Now, the steps at Durdle Door. Oh, where's my picture of Durdle Door? There we go. The steps at Durdle Door are going to be closed for essential maintenance next week. Starting on Monday the 9th of January, the beach, which attracts thousands of visitors each year due to its famous limestone art, will have those steps closed. Durdle Door is part of the Jurassic Coast and it was awarded World Heritage Site status by UNESCO in 2001. The Loworth Rangers say the steps leading down to the neighbouring Man O' War beach will remain open. A spokesman for Loworth Rangers said, "Our steps down to Durdle Door Beach have been working hard this year and are in need of some tender, loving care. They are sorry for any inconvenience caused and they hope the work will just take 5 days." Now, Dorset Council has published its initial proposal to deliver a balanced budget next financial year. That's the 2023-24 year. The Council's total net budget for 23-24 will be £348 million. The proposals would see essential frontline council services continuing to be provided to residents and businesses and protected from cuts. Dorset Council provides around 450 different services to just under 380,000 residents. The proposals are in contrast with many other councils nationally which face the prospect of cuts to services such as library closures and reductions of road maintenance to balance their budgets. The Council is required by law to set a balanced budget, which means its expenditure must be balanced by income without unsustainable use of one-off or short-term sources of finance. The Council proposes to increase council tax next year by just under 2% and to levy the adult social care precept of 2%. This is less than the maximum 5% increase outlined in the government spending review in December. The increase would be equivalent to £1.41 extra per week for a Band D property. The budget setting process takes place in several stages. The proposals are considered by the two scrutiny committees, then reviewed and submitted to Cabinet on the 23rd of January and then the full Council in February for final approval. The public meetings are being held in person as follows. 10 a.m. on the 10th of January, the People and Health Scrutiny Committee. 11:30 on the 12th of January, the Place and Resources Scrutiny Committee. 10 a.m. on the 23rd of January, the Cabinet meeting. And 6:30 p.m. on the 14th of February, the full Council meeting. Now, for details of where those meetings are being held, and if you'd like to attend them as a member of the public, please go to the Dorset Council website. Dorset Wildlife Trust has launched a half-price membership offer this January to encourage local people to support Dorset's wildlife and wild places. The Trust manages 40 nature reserves across Dorset as well as 4 visitor centres and works in partnership with other conservation organisations and landowners to manage land, providing a safe haven for Dorset's diverse and much-loved wildlife as well as essential green spaces for the public to enjoy. Dorset Wildlife Trust membership manager Emma Davies said, "For nature to recover from the climate and ecological crisis, we need 1 in 4 people to act for nature. If we reach this target, then the majority will follow. Imagine the difference that would make." Now, to become a member, you'll join 27,000 existing people across Dorset who are helping to expand and restore habitats for wildlife, ensuring land and sea policies benefit wildlife and people, and inspiring people to care. The half-price membership offer is valid from the 1st of January to the 31st of January and means that a year's membership starts at just £2 a month for an individual, £2.25 a month for joint membership and £2.50 a month for family membership. Individual and joint members receive an exclusive membership magazine, Dorset Wildlife, 3 times a year and an exclusive guide to over 40 of Dorset Wildlife Trust nature reserves that you can explore. Family memberships includes 4 issues of our Wildlife Watch magazine a year, as well as the individual membership benefits. Now, to find out more, go along to the Dorset Wildlife Trust website, www.dorsetwildlifetrust.org.uk/become-member. There we go, nice and easy, that one. And we do cover quite a lot from Dorset Wildlife Trust. They're a very active organisation looking after our local outdoor spaces. Now, GWR, the railway company, is reminding customers that major disruption to rail service continue this weekend as strike action and planned engineering works limits the number of trains that will operate. Today, Saturday the 7th of January, there has been industrial action again, as well as planned engineering work, and only an extremely limited service is run. Tomorrow, the Sunday the 8th of January, there will be a reduced level of service throughout the day. Trains will start later, and there could be short notice cancellations and alterations. Where trains can run, they are expected to be extremely busy, and those travelling are advised to check their journey beforehand. Other train operators are also affected by this action, so onward travel could also be affected. Where trains are going to operate, they will be busy, remember. Always check before you travel, particularly at the moment while industrial action and engineering works are severely disrupting services. Moving on. A public walkway at West Bay Harbour is to be temporarily closed by Dorset Council for safety reasons. A western section of the wall at the harbour side, just in front of the concession stands between the Harbour Master's office and the Ellipse building, has been monitored by Dorset Council safety officers for some time now. The closure will prevent access to the public conveniences. The council said that they have noticed increased structural movement since it was last inspected a few weeks ago. Officers are concerned about the stability of the wall and ultimately the safety of people using the walkway. The public walkway behind the wall is the main thoroughfare to the public toilets around the harbour area. Officers have met this week and, in consultation with the harbour master, have come up with a short-term plan to manage the situation. The affected area will be barried off, preventing access along the walkway, including the main toilets next to the harbour master's office. The main toilets will be closed while access to the walkway has been shut off. Other toilets can be found nearby in East Beach and the Visitors Centre. Alternative temporary toilet arrangements are being considered by council surveyors as well. Access to roads, parking and local businesses and food and drink stands in the area is unaffected. That's along the coast at West Bay. Now, local man Cliff Hitchin from Weymouth has just published a book called Approach by Stealth, and there's a picture of the book up on the screen now. With German mini-submarines loose on the Mediterranean wreaking havoc on Allied shipping, it is up to British commandos and their motor gunboats to stop them from attacking a large American convoy, while spies in the War Office in London seek to mislead and ensnare. Sounds a really good plot, doesn't it? Mr. Hitchin has said that he first had the idea for the book when he was on holiday in France several years ago with his family. He found inspiration from the true history of German mini-submarines, which was sighted at the nearby World War II German base. Mr. Hitchins said, wandering around the area with the family conjured the idea for Approach by Stealth into my mind. I've always been interested in World War II and the special services, so when I retired in 2012 things came together and I got into it and started writing. I did research on the submarines, but it wasn't enough, so I went to the museum in Gosport to see one in person and even got to go inside. This is my first book. I did have tried to write one at 13, but I quickly got fed up after 3 chapters. Reviews have been good and encouraging. The book includes a few little twists and turns here and there. Please do give it a read. Now, copies are available for purchase on Amazon. I think it's just over £9 when I looked earlier. So it looks a good read. Maybe it'll get made into a film if somebody reads it who really likes it from a production company. Now, Portland Museum in Easton on Portland is letting people from the DT5 postcode area visit for free. Upon arrival, residents must provide proof of their address to be allowed entry. Angela Scott, who's the chair of trustees at the Portland Museum Trust, said it's an arrangement that is very popular with the residents and we are delighted that so many of them are taking advantage of it. Following on from regular publicity about the scheme, the number of residents visiting the museum is increasing steadily. We are delighted to see so many local people coming in every day. And finally, in our headlines tonight, an exciting new club for the over 50s run by the Island Community Action on Portland, including those with some memory loss and their carers, will be guaranteed to chase away the January and Monday blues. It's called Brain Games and it launches on Monday the 16th of January at the YMCA in Reform, Eastern Portland from 1:30 to 3:30 as a weekly club. It's open to anyone over 50 looking for fun, conversation, companionship and the opportunity to keep their minds active through games and reminiscence activities. Now, if you would struggle to get to that and it's of interest to you, if you call the Island Community Action Office, and I'll give you the number in a minute, they will do what they can to assist with transport. So the number to write down is 01305 823 789, 823 789. That's starting on Monday the 16th of January at the YMCA in Reform, Eastern Portland, 1:30 to 3:30. It's there to help people with memory loss and their carers and to give something useful to do during the winter blues and the Monday blues. Well, that's the end of tonight's headlines. Lots in the headlines this evening. So, Okay, what do we do? Okay, here we go. Sorry, I lost my sheet of paper there. So this month marks 200 years since the death of Edward Jenner. Now, to some of you, the name may mean nothing. But to us all, Jenner's research and work has been really, really important for the last few years. He was the scientist who pioneered the concept of vaccines. Now, this week, Lydia has been looking at Edward Jenner and his work, and we'll hear from her now.
Globally, as of yesterday, the 6th of January, there have been 657 million confirmed cases of COVID-19, including almost 7 million deaths, reported to the World Health Organization. As of the 22nd of December 2022, a total of 13 billion vaccine doses have been administered worldwide. Vaccines have become a topic of interest during the pandemic, with massive efforts being made to get credible vaccines developed and approved as quickly as possible. However, vaccines have been around for many years for flu, pneumonia, smallpox and a range of other health concerns. But did you know when they were first used, and who made the first ever vaccine? 200 years ago, on the 26th of January 1823, Edward Jenner, the British physician and immunologist who created the first vaccine, died of a stroke. The vaccine Jenner created was for smallpox. He was the son of a Gloucestershire clergyman and the brother of another, who brought him up when his father died. He was also a violinist, a poet and a naturalist, but he chose medicine and became the pupil of a distinguished surgeon, John Hunter, at St. George's Hospital in London. Hunter also had wide interests, and the two kept in touch for many years. Jenner, a committed and sincere Christian, married a near neighbour, Catherine Kingscote, in 1788. He was described as amiable and quiet, but his work in creating a smallpox vaccine was said to have saved more lives than any other man on earth, though his treatment in making inoculations using cowpox lesions, initially from a dairymaid in 1796, was laughed at by some to start with. The word vaccination, relating to cows, stems from this experiment. Previous smallpox inoculation attempts were known as variolation and were both less successful and dangerous to health. Jenner himself had received this treatment as a child. Jenner was a member of the Royal Society, primarily because of his work as a naturalist. He published valuable observations and interpretations on, for instance, the life of the cuckoo, which was little understood at the time. But in the end, he gave so much time to vaccination work that his personal affairs suffered badly, though he was voted a total of £30,000 by Parliament. His wife died of tuberculosis in 1815, after which he retired from public life. In 1980, the World Health Organization said that smallpox had finally been eradicated from the world, though a few lab samples were kept. Today, Dr. Jenner's house in Berkeley, Gloucestershire is open to the public. It tells the story of Dr. Jenner and his ongoing legacy. Why not pay it a visit sometime? Let's see a bit more about Dr. Jenner courtesy of Dr. Jenner's House Museum and Gardens.
There we go. That's Dr. Jenner's House and Gardens in Gloucestershire. Remembering the work of Dr. Jenner, who started vaccinations with smallpox all those years ago. And something we really have relied on in the last few years. So I thought it was important to cover that today. Now, Dorset Arts Reach is an organisation that we mention very often. Very busy, very energetic organisation who organise loads and loads of concerts and other events across Dorset, usually in the heart of our rural community. And I've often said to you, it's not only the opportunity to go and see something different that perhaps you wouldn't get the opportunity to see, but also to visit some of our smaller villages and take that opportunity in as well. Now, they have launched their programme for 2023, and it is the usual amazing mix of concerts and other events throughout the heart of Dorset's villages. I thought I would focus on one of these tonight to give you just a taste of what's in the new programme. Now, it's the Academy Award winner Frank Borzage is one of the most distinctive of the early Hollywood directors. In an absorbing and poignant glimpse of a bygone time, two of his silent movie shorts are brought vividly to life, accompanied by an original score performed by Sonic Silence. The Pitcho Chance and The Pilgrim are adventure films that evoke a world of hobos, travelling men, cowboys and adventurous women, and the moral and practical dilemmas to which their precarious lives lead them. Sonic Silence are a trio of old-time country and bluegrass musicians, featuring Kate LeSueur, champion fiddler and leader of the Buffalo Girls, Leon Hunt, widely regarded as the best five-string banjo player in the country, and Jason Titley, one of the UK's finest bluegrass guitarists. With evocative music ranging from lively to melancholy, expect an absorbing and poignant glimpse of a bygone time. Let's just take a glimpse of this now.
This project started when Alistair Goulden from Bath Film Festival asked if I would be interested in making some music to go with a silent film. And the films that we ended up choosing were 3 films by the director Frank Borzage. He's a beautiful actor and he wrote and starred in these films and also directed them. From my sad heart you have flown. From my sad heart you have flown. From my sad heart. The score is made up of a combination of old tunes and songs that we've encountered through our love of old-time country music, and some tunes and songs that I've made up to go with the film, inspired by the film.
There we go. That's Sonic Silence, one of the things that Arts Reach are bringing. If you like those old black and white movies and you like a bit of live music with it, then that's something to look out for. I'll give you the details of when that will be performing when I come to the What's On section towards the end of the show. Now, it's that time in the programme this week where we go over to our regular contributor Andrew Wright for this week's film review and preview.
Welcome to Wyke Regis TV Film Review and Preview. I'm Andrew Wright. This weekend is the US release of the new science fiction horror comedy film Megan, stylized with a 3 instead of an E. The film revolves around a roboticist who uses artificial intelligence to create a doll capable of being a child's greatest companion, only for the prototype to become self-aware and start killing anyone who means to harm the family she's with. The film stars Alison Williams, who is most famous for her roles in HBO's Girls, as well as Oscar-winning film Get Out, and the film is notable for being the first co-production between the horror movie giant Blumhouse Productions and major movie director James Wan, responsible for directing films such as Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring, Fast and Furious 7, Aquaman, and Malignant. Megan is currently receiving universal praise from critics who praise the film's humour, campiness, and social commentary, and is currently predicted to be a box office success. The film is set to be released next week in UK cinemas. On Christmas weekend, a sequel to Rian Johnson's Knives Out, Glass Onion, was released on Netflix. The film stars Daniel Craig returning as private New York detective Benoit Blanc, and features him attending a billionaire's private party on an island off the coast of Greece in the midst of the pandemic when a murder occurs. The film received rave reviews from critics and has been nominated for 2 Golden Globes. However, I had a different opinion. I felt that the film is all style, no substance, and the film wastes its talented cast and is completely devoid of anything and everything that made the first film work and feel special. So I gave the film 3 stars out of 5. Unfortunately, I was not able to find an opportunity to review Smile for this week's segment, so I instead will preview it for when I get the opportunity to review it. Smile stars Sosie Bacon, daughter of actor Kevin Bacon, as a therapist who witnesses the bizarre suicide of a patient and then goes through increasingly disturbing experiences which she believes are supernatural. The film was a hit with critics, praising the acting and cinematography and visuals, but criticising its jump scares and similarities to other horror films. But it was a surprise box office hit, earning $216 million worldwide against a $17 million budget. The film was released on home video on Boxing Day. I will review it the first chance I get, so stay tuned. In other developing news, Avatar: The Way of Water has become the highest grossing film of 2022, currently sitting at around $1.5 billion, and is currently in the top 10 highest grossing films of all time. So it should be around here that it'll hit its break-even point, according to James Cameron, even though by my estimates and what he has said, it still needs to earn another $200 million to hit the target James Cameron said would be the break-even point of about the 7th or 8th highest grossing movie of all time. So stay tuned for that, because we expect strong competition from other films to come in, although Avatar will probably still remain quite heavy at the box office until the next Marvel film comes out in February. Also in February, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is dropping on Disney Plus, so I will make sure to watch it and review it because I haven't seen it, and frankly, it's the Marvel film I was least looking forward to watching, which is Thor: Love and Thunder accepting. So I'll make sure to get on that. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week for more film reviews and news. Now back to Gary in the studio.
Thank you, Andrew. And I have to say, the Glass Onion, I did see it. The whole family saw it over Christmas, and my comment with it was it took about 3/4 of an hour before anything happened whatsoever. It was all sort of a warm-up, and it just didn't even get into the story, and I thought that was a lot of wasted time. So we did watch the other Knives Out film, and that was much better, as Andrew indicated, so I do agree with him on that. Now it's that time in the programme where we go over to the Met Office for the National Weather Forecast, and this week we are joined, I believe, by Alex Burkill.
Hello, very good day to you. The unsettled weather's set to continue as we go through the rest of the weekend with some hefty showers, perhaps some thunder too. Take a look at the picture earlier and you can see many of us woke up to some heavy rain because of this cold front that's pushed its way eastwards across the UK, but that's now starting to clear away towards the North Sea. If we look at the bigger picture, and you can see there's further unsettled weather to come, and that's because of this area of low pressure and its associated occluded fronts that will bring spells of showery rain for many parts. There will be a brief ridge of high pressure arriving in time for Monday, so the weather will quieten down a little bit, albeit just for a short period of time, because there's some further unsettled weather set to arrive due to this system waiting out in the Atlantic, going to arrive in time for Tuesday. Back to the here and now, and the persistent rain many of us had through the morning, that's going to clear away towards the east as we go through the afternoon. Something a bit brighter following in behind for a time, but also these hefty, perhaps thundery showers that are going to push their way in from the west. After a very mild start to the day, temperatures are actually going to drop as we go through the afternoon. That's because of the colder air that's pushing in behind that cold front I mentioned earlier. It's also going to be windy, with the strongest winds towards the west. Around coastal parts we could see some gales. Through the end of the day on Saturday, there'll be some further heavy showery rain feeding its way across many parts, so watch out for that with the risk of some hail and some thunder too. For many, it's going to stay blustery overnight, and there'll be quite a bit of cloud with the showery rain, so temperatures aren't going to drop much. It may be a touch chillier than some recent nights, but particularly in the south, it's going to stay pretty mild, and even further north across parts of Scotland, there may only just be a touch of frost in the sheltered glens. Notice the showery rain across parts of Scotland will actually be a bit wintry at times, with some sleet and snow over the hills and mountains for Scotland, and there'll also be some sleet and snow over the highest ground of northern England and perhaps North Wales as we go through Sunday. Otherwise though, many places just at risk of seeing some hefty showers pushing their way through. Most of these will be falling as rain, but there is the risk of some hail. It is still going to be blustery, the strongest winds perhaps for western parts of Scotland where there could be some severe gales at times, and notice temperatures down a couple of degrees compared to what we've seen lately. It is going to be close to average for the time of year. Little change as we go through the end of the day on Sunday, so most places seeing the risk of some showery rain, which could be heavy at times, perhaps some more clear spells developing as we go through Sunday night, but also the risk of some more persistent rain affecting some far southern counties as we go through into the early hours of Monday. There's more unsettled weather to come, as I mentioned earlier, as we go through the rest of this week, so it is worth keeping up to date wherever you are on the full forecast on both the Met Office website, our app and our social media channels. I'll see you later.
Thank you very much there, Alex. And I know you'll be wanting to know, when are we going to actually get some better weather? Well, I'm sure that it's not going to be this week. As you look at this week's weather forecast, you can see those blue spots on every day. In fact, I was looking yesterday at the long-range forecast, and we are due a dry spell starting around the 24th or 25th of January for 10 days. That's what's planned at the moment, but of course as we get closer to that date that could change, but hopefully there's some dry weather on the horizon if we just hold in there. But this week it's going to be very changeable. Sunny spells, cloudy, some very heavy rain on Sundays such as Tuesday and tomorrow Sunday, so make sure you take a coat with you if you go out, and put a decent pair of shoes on so you don't end up with wet feet as well. Now let's look at what's coming up. Weymouth Pavilion, we've got 15th of January, Harry Hill Pedigree Fun. I'm sure that is going to be very, very popular, well-known TV comedian Harry Hill. 22nd of January, Sunday night comedy with Jade Adams. 27th of January, Thank You for the Music, an ABBA tribute. I think they've been several times before and always very popular. 8th of February, Shakespeare by the Sea Festival. And 10th of February, Lionel, the music of Lionel Richie. Now, all of those can be booked online at weymouthpavilion.com or by calling the box office 01305 783 225. Now, I mentioned the Arts Reach things that are coming up, and I've got 3, I think, to tell you about No, two about to tell you about. In fact, I haven't actually put the dates in for the one that I previewed earlier. I thought I had. I think it's coming up in a couple of weeks, so I will make sure they're in next week. But coming up in the next week, Elvis in Blue Hawaii, which is an interactive show with Elvis songs. 13th of January, 7:30 at Sanford Orchards Village Hall. 14th of January, a bit closer to us down in South Dorset, 14th of January, 8 o'clock, Buckland Newton Village Hall, just outside Dorset. And the 15th of January, 7:30 at the Allendale Centre, Wimborne. Another one that's coming up with one near us is the Moscow Drug Club, which is a darkly comic and eccentric music evening. Friday the 13th of January, 7:30 at Portersham Village Hall, just up the road a bit. Saturday the 14th of January, 8 o'clock at Sixpenny Handley Village Hall. Something else that might interest you, there's a talk on the lifeboat service by Cox and Andy Sargent on Tuesday, January the 10th, that's this coming Tuesday, to the National Trust South Dorset Association. The talk will start at 2:30 and it takes place at St Aldham's Church Centre at Spa Road, Weymouth. Tickets are £3 for members, £4 for non-members, so non-members welcome, and there's no need to book in advance. So that's this Tuesday, 10th of January, 2:30, St Aldham's Church Centre, talk on lifeboat services by Cox and Andy Sargent. Now, regular church services tomorrow in the Wyke Regis area. All Saints Church, 8 o'clock and 9:30. 9:30 will be live streamed, and 11 o'clock at St Edmund's Church, Lanehouse. Of course, our other programme tonight, our quiz, will be on at 7:30 with the stream going live between 7:15 and 7:20. You will all be very welcome to join us for our live Saturday evening quiz tonight. Looking at traffic and travel, not too much in the week ahead pre-notified. Obviously, if you're travelling by rail, please make sure you check. Be aware of the bad weather if you're driving. But major roadworks this week, only two pre-notified that are likely to affect traffic. That's at Mercery Road, that's over by the ambulance station, the new Aldi and Sainsbury's. And there is a diversionary route around Watery Lane at Upway. So those are ones to watch out for this week, currently that we are aware of. Well, that brings us to the end of this week's programme. Thank you for joining me. Do join me for the quiz in a short while. If you've got any stories or news for us or any activities that you'd like us to share with anybody, as ever, drop us an email, news@wykeregis.tv, and we will look at those and share them if we can with people next week or in future programmes. So thanks for joining me. I hope you'll join me next week, 6 o'clock Saturday. I will be here. Have a good week. Stay dry. Good night for now.